Hello there guys, my name is Aaron Charner and welcome to another video. Now this is a news transfer update from Dayot Upamecano, the Leipzig centre-back, and some brand new reports that have come out today. So before we get started, please like, comment, sub to the channel as well, click the notification bell so you never miss a YouTube video, comment down below any ideas for videos to do during this sort of dark period for human history. But for now guys, let's get into this transfer video. So this is about Dayot Upamecano, the centre-back that plays for German Bundesliga Premier League division club, RB Leipzig, Red Bull Leipzig. And there's been some reports linking him to both Barcelona and Arsenal. Now, the latest reports come from the source. It was mentioned on the Transfer Centre on Sky Sports Football Online. But according to LE10 Sport, the French defender could make the move to the new camp for £50 million. But Arsenal are facing the tussle with Barcelona after the Spanish champions entered the race to sign the defender. Head coach of Barcelona, Quique Setien, is said to have made recruiting defensive reinforcements his top transfer policy at the end of the campaign. So we knew Arsenal were already in the running for Upamecano. They've been in the running for him for a good year or so. And Upamecano has now entered the thoughts of Barcelona. Personally, in my opinion, who would I rather choose? Would I choose Barcelona, if I was Upamecano, would I choose Barcelona, who need defensive reinforcements? Or would I choose Arsenal, who also need defensive reinforcements? But, you know, Barcelona's already a top world-class club with loads of millions and millions and millions of pound players. They're already at the top of their game. Arsenal, they were at the top. They declined slightly. They've been declining slowly and steadily during the last years of Arsene Wenger. The era of Unai Emery over the last 18 months, and of course they're entering this period after a few games caretaker charge of the legend Freddie Ljungberg. They're entering this Mikel Arteta era. By the way, good to see Arteta's fully recovering from the coronavirus, so big props to Mikel Arteta and his family. Get well soon. I'm hearing he's recovering well, so great to hear that. But yeah, Arsenal are on this sort of rebuilding process under Mikel Arteta. I look at Arteta as a bit like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The job is too big for him, but I know he could grow into the job. And I know a lot of Manchester United fans have been very critical of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his management style, his tactics sometimes, picking players. And obviously the signings sometimes haven't really been, and this transfer activity hasn't really been down to him. You know, he has got a list of players that he wants to buy. I have heard reports that Harry Kane could be on that list, and some of Harry Kane's representatives have apparently been talking to Manchester United, so that would be great if that transfer ever comes to light. And of course, if Harry Kane does sign for Manchester United, which I think it's very unlikely personally, but I think if Harry Kane does sign for Manchester United, I think that could pave the way for Gareth Bale to leave Madrid and come back to Tottenham Hotspur. But moving back onto Arsenal, I think they're like Manchester United, they're in a rebuilding process with a manager that can grow into the job. Obviously, loads of people were Ole out a few months ago, and now he's sort of growing into the job. Now he's bought Bruno Fernandes. Odion Ighalo's proven his worth. Me personally, as a Manchester United fan, I'd like to see Ighalo on a permanent transfer, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays out if and when it gets played out in the extended month of the summer. But with Arsenal, like I said, a rebuilding process with a manager that will grow into the job like Mikel Arteta. You know, he's been number 2 for Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. You know, this is his first sort of top job opportunity. He's a former Arsenal player. So it is going down that road. And you know, I think that Dayot Upamecano is a great defensive option for Arsenal personally. You look at the defenders they've got already. Socrates is a great leader. He hasn't got many years in him. He's sort of getting to the end of his prime years. But Socrates as a leader, as a dressing room leader, is great to have. So is David Luiz. He's a Premier League winner. He's a serial Premier League winner. And, you know, for Chelsea. And he's a great dressing room leader. My opinion on David Luiz when they first bought him is they bought a defender just to shut the fans up about buying a defender in the first place. Personally, that's just my opinion. But there have been times this season, and when David Luiz has joined Arsenal, that he has shown signs. But, you know, is it getting to that stage where he's going to go the same way as Petr Cech? You've got to look at Petr Cech when he moved to Arsenal from Chelsea a few years ago. You've got to look at Petr Cech and you've got to think, his prime years were at Chelsea. Overall, I don't think he did a good job at Arsenal, but he can hang his helmet up that he's one of the best goalkeepers in Premier League history. But as a Chelsea player, not for his last years at when he played for Arsenal. I'm hoping David Luiz doesn't go that Czech route, and I hope he does become a good senior player for Arsenal. I know Nacho Monreal showed signs when he was at Arsenal, but he sort of got on a bit, and he wasn't really putting in much performances, and that's when he went. Socrates again with David Luiz's situation. I hope he doesn't go the Petr Cech route, and I hope he does become a good senior player with some brilliant potential still in him to see out his senior years. And I think Upamecano is the young French centre back that I think Arsenal could dream of having. But of course, one sort of I see a couple of flaws maybe with Arsenal getting in for Upamecano, and that is that three flaws technically. Barcelona are in for him. Number two, there's already a reported £50 million fee that Barcelona are putting on the table, like I said, from that source, Le 10 Sport. And thirdly, of course, Arsenal have got their new 17-year-old, William Saliba, coming back from his end-of-loan deal with his club Saint Etienne, because of course they bought him, loaned him back to Saint Etienne, and now he's going to be coming back for the 2020-2021 season. So with Saliba growing into the role, do you get Upamecano, and then you have like Upamecano, David Luiz, Socrates, Mustafi if he stays, and you have Saliba and sort of the young defenders like Zach Medley maybe, for example, learn off them senior players? Or do you not get Upamecano, you just get Saliba and he just learns off the likes of Socrates, David Luiz and Mustafi? You don't have another top draw defender, even though he's younger than Socrates, David Luiz and Mustafi. Upamecano could still be a good senior player that could lead, especially with the French connection. Saliba and Upamecano are both French, so I think they've got a good French connection. With Barcelona, for example, though, they've had defenders over the last 15-20 years, from 15-20 years ago to now. They've had a great array of defenders. Puyol, Piqué, some fantastic centre-backs, and I think Upamecano could be a good young centre-back to grow into that Barcelona first team. And I think with Barcelona's head coach wanting him, I think that Barcelona, me personally, is the likely destination at the moment, unless Arsenal makes some kind of move in the next few weeks, behind closed doors, of course. But we'll have to keep tabs on the Upamecano situation. And like I was speaking earlier with Manchester United and, Harry Kane and Gareth Bale, we'll be speaking about Gareth Bale in a future video, so stay tuned for that video. But overall then, looking at all the options then, I'm thinking Upamecano will go to either Arsenal or Barcelona, or he could stay at Leipzig. There is that potential option of staying at RB Leipzig and try and grow with the club. Timo Werner, he's still at Leipzig, where he's the type of player that could fit in a Liverpool or a Man City or a Chelsea or a Manchester United if they get back into the Champions League, or Arsenal if they get back into the Champions League. If Wolves got into the Champions League, I think Werner would be a fantastic younger striker to still be a first teamer mainly, but still have the knack to learn from the likes of the experienced ones like Raul Jimenez and senior strikers like that. So I think that Werner would be a good fit for Wolves if they got into the Champions League. But Leipzig have got a whole squad of fantastic players. Sabitzer, is that a midfielder, a playmaking midfielder that Arsenal should look at? Is he the guy that could replace Ozil when he eventually retires? I know Sabitzer could be a good option for Arsenal in my opinion, for the playmakers, so that's another video we could do in the future. Should Sabitzer go to the Premier League, and if so, where? We'll do some fact files on him as well, so fingers crossed for that video going ahead. But for now, guys, thank you very, very much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss a future video. And for now, guys, my name is Aaron Challoner. Goodbye.